Tomorrow we're gonna have 30 guests right here in our family living room, and I'm gonna bring you along and show you exactly how we transform this space so we're ready for them. We're gonna make the soup together. You get to come join our family business as we transform this space. I like to peel the butternut squash. I used to, when I first started making this soup, I would just like cut it with the skin on. But then after it roasts, you have to wait for it to cool down to like pull the butternut squash off of the skin. And so I started, even though it's a little bit hard to peel a butternut squash, I think it makes, see, it's way hard to do it. It's so slippery, but I feel like it's easier in the end because then when it comes out of the oven, you can just push it right into your pot and you don't have to wait for it to cool down. But butternut squash is so crazy. It has a natural defense mechanism so that if the skin gets ripped or cut, it produces this like gel to protect itself. So when you peel it, it's why it's so slippery, and it's really hard to get off your hands. It makes like a coating, like when you were a kid and you would put glue on your hands. So then all of that work to peel it, this is the part where it's just way easier because then it just gets to roast and you don't have to deal with that skin later. And when we first started making this, I just started playing around with it because we were growing butternut squash in the garden, and so then I was roasting it and just would be making soups with it, and we realized that the way we liked it best, instead of adding cream into it, is we actually add our own cider that we have pressed from the fall, and that's what helps give it this like kind of like tangy sweet flavor. It's so delicious. So this is the cider that we pressed in September, and then we freeze it, and then I just pull it out as we need it, and can cook with it all through the winter time. So we get to this point in the winter and there's no more butternut squash from the garden, and we're almost out of cider. So it means it's time for the garden to start again. One thing that I think stops people from hosting is they don't feel like they know what to cook, or they're not a good enough cook, or they'd mess it up. Just start with something you know how to make, and that could simply be getting something that was already pre-prepped and made from the store, and you're really just plating it, because hosting is so much more than just about the food. We love delicious food. We love growing stuff in the garden, but when we first got married, we would invite people over to our house every Sunday night, and we'd have dinner, a big group of friends. All of us were like early 20s. None of us knew how to cook, and some nights the meal was edible, and other nights I don't know, I think people were nice and they acted like it was good, but I was not a good cook, but it didn't matter. People just wanted to be together. They wanted to hang out. So don't let not knowing or feeling like you're not some 5-star chef. It just takes so much practice. Make the same things over and over again until you're like, ooh, this is so good. And then you feel confident to serve it to people. But it really does just take a whole lot of practice. Aaron's uncle, several years ago, gave me these big, these big curly willow branches. And this one is the best one for making a floral chandelier. And so I've kept it. And I just bring it out whenever I want to use it. So we decided to just put holes in our ceiling. Erin was so nice to let me put holes in the ceiling. I realize not everybody wants holes in their ceiling, but our house is old and she has a lot of personality. And so we just keep adding more personality to her. And whenever you can bring the outside in, it changes your space and it makes you feel like you're outside. And so we're gonna hang some lights up here. Nobody wants to come to your house because it's perfect. They want to come because you invited them. And I mean, I think more than ever, people need connection and community, and they would rather you invite them to their house, invite them to your house, and everything's not perfect, than you not invite them at all. And, you know, we all have this running list of, oh, I need to fix that, or I really wanted to deep clean that, or I was hoping to get a new fill in the blank couch or chairs or table or whatever. Nobody else knows that list unless you tell them. So here's the rule. When they walk into your house, do not tell people all of the things that you didn't get to, or I was going to do this and I didn't have time, and like, don't even go there. Nobody's thinking about that. They are just literally so happy to be able to be together. If the only thing you have time to do before your guests arrive is you just set the table, they will feel so like seen and planned for and thought about. And so that's kind of where we start with the table stuff. Let's stir that.
This is, let's see. This.
I think we'll just add some greenery onto this table. Okay. You want to put the butternut squash in the oven on its own to begin with, because it takes much longer to roast than the onions and the garlic. And so I usually roast it for maybe 30 minutes before we ever add the onions and the garlic in, which makes it so that when you pull it out, it's like all the right consistency, instead of the onions and garlic being like totally burned. And so what I do is the butternut squash does like 30 to 40-ish minutes until it's starting to just be a little bit softer. Then you add the onions on and they roast for 15 minutes. And then for the last 5 minutes, you just put your whole cloves of garlic, leave the skin on them. And after they roast for just 5 minutes, look at this, they just will come straight out of the skin. They're nice and soft. And so then this is all gonna go into the soup pot, which sometimes when they're a little bit bigger, you have to kind of peel it back a bit. But you don't want your garlic to sit on the pan roasting for too long, because it is really, really easy to pulverize it basically in the oven. It will just, you'll go to like push it out and the whole thing will just like squish, it'll be gone. So it only takes a couple minutes. So I just do 5 and then I take it out. Don't worry when you take it out if you're like, oh, I think it isn't cooked all the way. It's fine, because it's actually gonna sit in the soup pot and simmer, and so it finishes cooking it off. When I'm making a really big batch of this soup, or really a big batch of anything, I do it in batches. So, you know, not everything's gonna fit on one cookie sheet or baking sheet. And so when one sheet is done, like I have it all prepped, I just get it into the oven and let it start roasting while I prep the next sheet. the first one comes out of the oven, I can get the pot of soup simmering, and I found that to be a little bit easier than trying to make everything all at the same time, especially since, you know, we just have a normal kitchen. This isn't like a big industrial space. And so it's amazing how many people you can feed though out of just one small kitchen. I mean, we have fed hundreds of people, not all at one time, but hundreds of people over the years in this one same small space. And I think like even with the kids, now everybody has such a, like everybody knows the drill. It's not a big deal when I ask them to go down to the cellar and grab stuff, because they know where the stuff is at. They know what it is I'm asking them to do, like what I'm expecting of them. And I think that has been so helpful in us, like inadvertently training them. It like helped me learn, oh, this is how we would train somebody that was going to come and either volunteer with us for a freedom dinner or be part of our team for an event. Is I love to have at least one person on the team that knows exactly what we're going for each specific area. So when it comes to like setting the table, there's always one person that knows where all the dishes are. And so even if you're just hosting your family, having one person that can oversee one part of that event is so helpful for you, because then you can just put it out of your mind. And it also takes you trusting that they are going to get it done. You've communicated what you want, and just let them like bring it to life in the way that they see fit, and it'll free you up and allow you to enjoy hosting so much more than if you're just trying to do it all on your own. I never want to waste anything from this tray, because there's a lot of times like juices from the squash from it roasting. And so I just scrape every single thing from the tray into the pot so that we don't lose any of that amazing flavor. Just be careful that you don't scrape your foil so hard that you put a piece of foil in your soup. Okay, now we want this to simmer for a little bit. And then we get to blend it with the immersion blender. And that's when you taste it. You don't want to taste it until then, because it's not going to taste right until you get all those flavors like blended up in there.
Well, and he only had to bill too, because he had, and then his baristas, he's like, I pay them all like $25 an hour, but then they get tips, so they all end up making like $40 an hour.
Okay, we're all ready. We're ready for 30 guests to join us tomorrow. And one of the things that we love to serve when we are hosting a big group like this is our mandarin orange cake. Everybody loves it. It's gluten-free and dairy-free, so everybody can eat it. And I have a video for you on how to make it.